Speaking of Final Fantasy,
This is really good.
On
Unlocked, we do really awful segues, but this has worked well.
See,
I'm proud of you.
on Anime Club, we have something called a Megway, because Megan usually
that's really
does
good.
it.
I like that a lot.
We usually do pretty well.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes we'll just be like talking about something that's not anime, and we'll be like, yeah, and it's like an anime because of this.
That's
Just
totally
desperately
anime.
grasping at straws.
I like how like every podcast needs someone whose last name ends with egg, so you could do a blank egg way.
Yeah.
Remember Greg?
Oh, I didn't
like
know
that guy,
Yeah.
Ours are just like the eggs on Twitter, just like the unknown.
The eggs on Twitter who are really
Just
mean
an
to us.
egg way, yeah.
I miss Greg and Colin. Why are you yelling at us?
Oh, I miss Greg and
I
Colin.
miss Greg and Colin too. P.S. I love you. XOXO. Every Tuesday.
Yeah, episode 2. Shuhei Yoshida's on today.
Yeah, I know him.
I'm gonna listen to that on a real good
I saw
plane
that
ride
guy
tomorrow.
in Japan.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, he was going to eat sushi and he just passed me and I was like, that's Shuhei Yoshida.
Oh.
Nice. I
He's-
saw Greg at a bar last week, and he knew who I was. That was pretty cool.
Oh. Have you not met Greg? Well, I guess now you have.
I had met him like a while back, and like I was like, "Hey, you probably don't remember." And he's like, "Oh, I remember when you applied," and I was like,
Oh.
"Aw." It was, really
It was also
nice.
weird. I was about to say, man, I saw Greg at a bar last weekend too. I'm like,
We were
oh,
at the same bar.
Same bar.
Yeah.
Same bar.
That was at Mike Pereira's.
It was Mike Pereira's Viking funeral.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of Vikings.
Oh my god, that's really good. Keep going, keep going.
What is happening?
That's what this.
Yeah, so there's a story on GameSpot, which is really, really cool. Highly recommend reading it. Is about Fortress, which is the codename for a Final Fantasy XII spin-off in development by Grin.
Yep.
And I want to get into it, but holy crap, it's cool to me that there was a Western dev working on a proper Final Fantasy spin-off.
Yeah, it's
like
insane.
that alone is exciting to me.
Yeah, this was back in like 2009 or so. Square, after Revenant Wings came out for DS, which was the first 12 spin-off, they went to evidently a bunch of Western studios and decided on Grin, which seems like a weird choice.
Yeah.
Grin at the time was working on the Bionic Commando, the pair of them. Both they'd been rearmed, and they did which was the
Which is interesting.
HD
'cause
remake.
One was super well received, and one kind of wasn't.
Yeah, the 2D, the PSN one was really well received, and then the full Bionic Commando, which was the big 3D one, which I think its failure sort of sunk the studio a little bit. That was not. Do you remember that? You remember what the twist in that game was?
The arm thing.
Yeah. Do you guys know about that twist? We can say because that game's
Spoilers
dumb.
for-
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
never
I
gonna
really
play
don't
it.
care.
So you know
It's not
that
gonna
like he has a bionic arm.
Would you
and
say
he
they're
uses-
twisting your arm?
The twist of his arm is that his arm is his dead wife.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I
But you
remember
feel bad
that.
about that joke
Is
now.
that like a masturbation joke? What is that?
Well.
I mean,
Yeah, well, I remember that the twist. Not that one,
honey, you
Callie,
never
but
left me. I mean, you never write me. This was his right hand, not his left hand. Sorry, where were you? Eesh.
Totally. What are we talking about?
That's a weird
so,
twist.
so I've heard
Yeah.
the twist. I've heard the twist before.
That was the twist, is that
I don't remember
the
his
spirit of his
name.
dead wife was in his arm.
Why?
That's
Literally, why?
I mean, if you're
That's the Bionic Commando
a bad question.
fiction.
when you're going to kill Hitler in the original, that was that Hitler?
I don't think it was like.
Remember Hitler?
Yeah.
That dude was he was real.
So
He was a real
Fortress.
bad boy. Yeah.
So it looks really cool. It's sad because it's
Yes.
canceled. Like,
Yeah.
won't happen.
Yeah, the overall structure of the game seemed really neat. You played as Bosch, and it was more of an action game than an RPG. But the whole thing was centered around this fortress on a different continent. The continent was more Nordic than what we'd seen of whereas Final Fantasy XII had sort of this Egyptian, Syrian vibe to it. This was like a different continent, and you're protecting this fortress throughout 4 seasons from Poseidon, sort of.
Yeah,
like
they
a
said
sea
it was
god.
like divided across sort of 2 years, so like 2 sets of 4 seasons, and like that things are changing as you go, basically. And yeah, there's like an angry sea god is sort of like a Neptune or a Poseidon.
But you sort of, it's almost like you do all this prep work throughout the season, and then it culminates in a like Helm's Deep sort of siege.
sense.
And like stuff can get messed up to where like if a tower that houses your food gets wrecked, then all of a sudden you're entering winter without a food supply, and you have to go out and hunt more. And then throughout the seasons, the various characters from 12 would come in and help you in battles, and it would sort of be like the swan song and sort of saying goodbye to those characters like Vaughn and Ash and everything.
That sounds really
Yeah,
cool.
and they said like rubble, like if one of your towers fell down, the rubble would stay there and like would get covered in leaves in the fall and like snow in the winter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all of it sounded
it sounds-
really cool.
And it's totally worth go to GameSpot, check out concept art, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
it was
'cause it's
Alexa
super
Ray Gria's
interesting.
story. She was on our Real Drunk E3 episode.
Yeah. Yeah, those articles are really good.
Yeah, they're really
I saw
great.
her tweeting about it. It took her like months and months. Like she did a lot of work.
Yeah, it's real old-fashioned journalism. A lot of cool concept art. This
And
is
there's
only
a third part. If you're listening to this now, the third part's probably up.
yeah, but we don't know what the third part. What if the third part gets real racist and we were like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. We're sorry. If the third part's really racist, I'm sorry.
Speaking of being really written, no, this was
Target's kind of homophobic, aren't they? That's kind of
yeah, they did that dumb thing where they had like their sexist toys section too. I shop at Target a lot, actually. They're fun.
No,
A
didn't
lot.
they get rid of this?
No.
The
No, they
gender
fixed it. They
division?
fixed it. Yeah. But they had it in the first
I mean,
place.
like that.
The fact that they made
Yeah,
progress,
it's
that's
just
true.
like it doesn't change anything, guys. They just took off the boys and girls labels. It's fine.
Yeah,
But
like-
anyway.